Hi, my name is Brett and I am back with another library book haul. This week I have 10 books from the Boston Public Library. I'm going to be going through this stack and I'm going to share with you which ones are my favorite. I love to just start off with my very favorite, so you don't have to wait till the end of the video to find out what that is. And my favorite book this week is Friends Are Friends Forever. I'm also really excited to introduce you to my top 2, 3, and 4. This week it's Night Owl, which is a great book that introduces your kids to science. Levo's Lobo, which celebrates Mexican folk art. And in 4th place, Tell the Truth, Pangolin, which just has some outstanding illustrations. I can't wait to show you what's inside this book. So let's get started with my very favorite one this week. That is Friends Are Friends Forever. I'm a sucker for stories that are emotional and personal. And you know, if you go to a Pixar movie and you see the short in front of the movie, sometimes the short at the very beginning I think is just so impressively powerful, like what you can do in 3 or 4 minutes to move an audience. And I feel like that's something that this story does. So it is a story of 2 Chinese girls and they're best friends. They go to school every day in the morning. And then one day, this girl tells her friend that she's leaving and she doesn't know if she'll be back. And so her friend gives her something that she can share with a friend in America when she makes a friend in America. And so they just have a really nice, special last night together. And then this girl flies across the world to the US. She's alone, she's learning a new language. It's a lot of work. She doesn't necessarily get accepted too quickly at school, but she does make a friend with this girl named Christina. And so they start bonding, and then eventually she decides to share that special present with Christina, the one that her friend had given her in China. I remember Yue's wish and slowly take out the bundle. I show Christina how to pleat, zigzag, and unfold. And basically what they have and what they're doing in this book is they're creating these special Lunar New Year's lantern decorations that they hang out on trees. And so she basically bonds with this new friend in America using this old tradition that they did. And in the back of the book, they explain how that works in case you want to do your own craft, just like the kids do in this story. So anyway, I think what's really special about this book is the idea that you can have a best friend here. You can go to a new environment. You can still continue making friends. And you carry those friends with you in your heart. Even if you can't see them anymore, you don't get a chance to see them anymore. So Friends Are Friends Forever, really sweet story. Next up I have Night Owl Night, and this book is totally different. It was almost my favorite and almost the one that I wanted to recommend as my #1 place this week. What I love about it is that it gets into teaching kids science, and in this case it is about teaching this mom teaching this girl how to track owls. And so in owl research, they basically catch owls in a little net that's safe for the owl. So they put up nets and then they catch the owls and they tag the owls and they weigh and measure the owl. And then they track where the owls are flying and where, you know, how the population is doing and things like that. But this little girl who's following her mom just mostly has to learn patience, because you don't necessarily put up a net and immediately catch an owl, right? You have to wait. And so one of the main themes that keeps coming back is the mom telling the girl, a scientist must wait, which is probably true no matter what branch of science you are involved in. I love the illustrations in this, and I keep wanting to show you page after page, but just check out how like interesting and engaging these illustrations are, like how cute these facial expressions are. So I really like this book, and I love that it teaches your kids so much about science. I also love that it's a book you can read for 15 or 20 minutes. So it's a story you can really dig into. Some of these kids' books are gone in 5 minutes, you know? And also there's some information on owls and owl banding if you want to teach your kids about that. Night Owl Night, really cool book. Next up I have Levo's Lobo. And this is a story about a boy named Levo who gets a dog, Wolf, who he names Lobo. It's got these fantastic, fantastic colorful illustrations all throughout the book. It's a story of a boy and his family. They go to a market, they go visit an adoption agency. Levo sees a lot of regular pets. He isn't really into any of them. He wants a pet that's super special. And then at the market, he discovers this old man who has a adoption agency for alabrios, which are these special animals that are basically sort of magical. They're from Mexican folk art, and you can see they're very colorful, they're very imaginative. And so he tells the kid, and this is a brilliant sales guy, by the way, this old man tells the kid that at my agency, you don't pick the pet will pick you. And so the pet that picks Levo is this cool wolf dog character, and Levo really wants to adopt him. His parents agree. This wolf dog has a special attribute, though. He actually has little wings. And so if you can imagine how hard it would be to take care of a dog who flies, then you can imagine some of the issues that Levo gets into with this really special pet. And so eventually in the story, his parents have to help him out. And so as a family, they support him in taking care of this dog with very unique needs. So I think it's a sweet story about a family coming together and supporting the boy and his dream of taking care of this unique dog. But I also think it's just a spectacular celebration of alabrias and this Mexican folk art. This last page that I'm showing you is kind of the explainer on these colorful and imaginative wild animals, the alabrias. So I'd love for you to check out this book. I think it's so unique and has such great illustrations. Next up I have Tell the Truth, Pangolin. This book fits into a genre of children's books where a character makes some kind of mistake or some misfortune befalls them, and then they have to decide, what are they going to do? Are they going to confess what happened? Are they going to make up a story about what happened that shifts the blame? And so this pangolin apparently breaks a swing, or the swing breaks on him, and then he has to decide how is he going to break the news to the queen. So he goes all around the village and he's asking all these characters, you know, what shall I do? What shall I tell them? They all come up with crazy stories that he could tell the queen that might work. And he just keeps going on and hearing all these crazy stories from the townsfolk. Eventually, he goes to see the queen. And he tries to tell the queen all the stories combined, which is, of course, super ludicrous. And the queen's like, what's wrong? And then he tells them, it was me, your majesty. I broke the swing, and I'm very sorry. And then the book ends very quickly. It's the queen kissed Pangolin on his scaly head. Thank you for telling me, dear friend. Will you help me fix it? Pangolin smiled. I will. And so I think it's a great message for kids. It does exactly what you'd want a story like this to do, which is to tell kids it's okay to make a mistake. Just try and fix it if you can. Or, you know, just be honest about what happened and then be ready to help fix it if you can. Next, I have the Lotus Seed. This is a completely different style of book. This book was published, I think, in 1993. And so you can feel this book's age in terms of like the style of children's books and how that's evolved over the years. But in this book, you just have some text here and a nice little framed picture on the other side. And these pictures look like they belong in a museum. They're so artistic and beautiful. This story is a little more serious, though. It is about a woman who witnesses the fall of Imperial Vietnam. And so she sees the emperor leave the palace on the last day, and she wants to get something to remember him by. So she plucks a seed from a lotus pod that rattled in the imperial garden. And she takes this seed with her. She takes care of it through the years and through the generations. She marries someone, he goes off to war and dies. And then years later, they're invaded, so they leave, they go to America, and she is still taking care of this seed. And I won't spoil the rest of the story, but It's a special story, I think, about remembering where you're from, remembering your history, and treasuring that history. So that is The Lotus Seed, and it's a really cool book. Next I have Becoming Charley. Totally different vibe from the last book. This book is a story of a caterpillar, and he's supposed to become a monarch butterfly. All of his little siblings are preparing to be monarch butterflies, but this character isn't so obsessed with orange and black. He is drawn to, you know, trees. He's drawn to, what else is he drawn to? He's drawn to the color blue. He likes the stars. He likes mountains. He likes wildflowers. And so in the end, when he turns into a chrysalis, all the other ones are thinking orange and black because they want to become monarchs like they're supposed to be. This one, he thinks different, basically. And I will share with you the last page because this is really the heart of the story. This is what makes this whole story so special. This butterfly had become everything Charley had ever loved. And so you can see the colors and the shapes of all the things that he loved as a caterpillar. So I think it's a story about nonconformity and a story about being yourself. It's a great message to share with kids. Becoming Charley. A few more books in this stack. Winter is the Warmest Season. This is also a book from the 1990s, and you can feel that just different style of children's book that used to be dominant. So you've got these beautiful oil or pastel illustrations. The theme of this book actually came from the author's child, and the child had remarked, you know, I think winter's the warmest season because you get hot chocolate, you get all these cozy clothes, you get grilled cheeses. Yeah, you can go outside, but you're dressed in this really nice warm coat. You get to cuddle up with your pets. And so the author really just celebrated that idea in this children's book. And the illustrations are really cozy and fun to look at. It's not so much a story as just an exploration of that theme, that winter is the warmest season. So it'd be a great book to pick up in winter, which explains why I'm reading it here in May. Just kidding. But anyway, it's a great book no matter what season you read it in. Next I have No Kitten. This is a cute book. It has kind of cartoonish style illustrations, and it's about a cat who wants things that most cats do not want. He's kind of a unique cat. So for example, the cat wanted a puppy. And I'll read you a page so you get the idea. The little girl says to the cat, "A puppy? No, kitten, you cannot have a puppy. You are a cat. Cats do not have pets." And it keeps kind of going on and on like this with different things that the cat wants that are odd for a cat to want. And then eventually the cat says that what he really wants is to blast off to Jupiter. And it was around this page that I started thinking maybe the story is playing into what this girl wants, you know, and she's just sort of imagining the cat wants to do these things with her. So I just thought it was a really cute, imaginative story, and really kind of gets inside the pretend world of a kid. No, Kitten. Next up I have We Who Produce Pearls. And I'm sorry if you can hear my laundry, which is going over there as I record this video, but hopefully we can finish. I have this book, We Who Produce Pearls. This is an anthem for Asian Americans, and it has really beautiful illustrations, for sure. But I'd say one drawback of a book like this is it doesn't have any linear story. It is more just a big theme that you're sharing. And I suppose that could work for some kids. My girl is 6 months, and both times I read this to her, she was notably distracted relative to when I'm reading the other books, which I thought is kind of surprising because you'd think that at 6 months your kid wouldn't really know what's going on in these books anyway. But that was just my experience. So I think that a story like this that doesn't necessarily have a linear story with a distinct character is a little bit harder for kids to grasp. But as I always say about books that are towards the end of my stack, I'm still grateful that this book exists because it adds diversity, it adds something different to the library, and you never know if it's going to really resonate for you. I will say this book has a lot of love that was put into it, so it's an interesting one to pick up. It is We Who Produce Pearls, a celebration of Asian Americans. And lastly, I have The Beach. The Beach is another unique book. It is It reminds me of Hieronymus Bosch paintings, if you've been to museums and you've seen those. But check out the level of detail that is going on in each page of this book. So here it shows like these boats that are out on the water fishing. And you have to look really closely to see the detail on the individual boats. And I'd say, if it were me and I were giving any advice to the author, I would just say I'd rather kind of focus in on a section of this and then make that section really, really engaging. You know, add a lot of personality to the characters so that my girl and me can both kind of look at something, or I can explain something to her. But right now, a lot of these kind of feel like squiggly blobs. And so I can't read too much in to what any of the characters are doing. And also there's just so much to focus on, so you don't quite know what to focus on. That's just my experience though. I mean, maybe you'll absolutely love this. I've never seen a book exactly like this. So that's something I love about getting books from the library, is you don't have to love all of them. You just need to appreciate them while you're reading them. And then you return them to the library and go check out something new. So I guess that's a great way to end this video. I hope that you also feel inspired to go to the library and check out some books after seeing this video. And if you'd like to see more book reviews like this, just subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.